occasions. The first one is Potiphar, the second is a jail, and the third is the Pharaoh. In all these three occasions, Joseph became second in command. So that was my question. How could Joseph become second in command in three different locations? One is the first time he sold into slavery, Potiphar. In his house, he became second in command. I'm going to show you how he became that. And then he became a second in command in the jail. He was thrown in a prison cell, and he became the second in command in where the jailer was taking responsibility. The third is when he was working for the Pharaoh, again he became second in command. So three different occasions he became second in command. Let's see how that happened. Okay, verse number 3. I just read, his master saw. Okay, verse number 3. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. Ria?
Amen.
So that's the first step. He became second in command, and that Potiphar, the officer of the Pharaoh, he put him in charge of everything he had. Okay, verse number 5. So chapter 39, verse number 5. From the time that he made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house. For Joseph's sake, the blessings of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and field. So he left all that he had in Joseph's charge. Because of him, he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. That's the first occasion. Everything is given to Joseph. Who is Joseph? We have to remember this every time when we go. He's a slave. He was given into slavery. He was supposed to just serve this master, but then he became second in command. That's the first part. And there is a small story starting from verse second half of 6th verse till all the way where I can see till 20. I'll tell you, this master's wife wanted to have a relationship with this Joseph, and then they have a fight between them, and I'm going to skip that part for you, and then I'm going to go to 21st verse. Look at this part, 21st verse. Chapter 39, 21st verse. Can you read that for me, Riya? Okay, let's start one thing. Let's go to 19th verse and start reading from there. So his wife told him that Joseph misbehaved with her. He was very angry, and this is what happened. 19th verse.
This is a CSB Bible.
Okay, yeah,
That's okay.
It still has Genesis chapter 39 and verse 19 in there. Mm-hmm.
When his master heard the story, his wife told him, "These are the things your slave did to me." He was furious. He had him thrown into prison, where the king's prisoners were confined. So Joseph was there in prison.
Okay, now let me read. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. 22nd verse. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. See the second occasion now. Okay. Now what happened here? Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge. But because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed.
Praise God.
See, second occasion, again he became second in command. Now let's jump for chapter 40 and 41. They have a lot of other stories that happen there, where the cupbearer or the two people who Joseph interprets the dream. He also interprets the dream of the Pharaoh that we all know about it. Let's jump to 41 chapter, 37th verse. 41 chapter, 41st chapter, 37th verse. Moshe, can you read clearly? So this is
41,
after.
Chapter 41.
This is
Verse
after
37.
he interpreted the whole dream
Verse 37.
of the Pharaoh, and he gave him the interpretation of what God gave him. Now, the response of the Pharaoh to Joseph is what we are looking at here. Chapter 41, verse 37.
Start.
This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said,
What is the proposal? There will be 7 years of plentiful of harvest and 7 years of absolute famine. So he says, like, we will grow as much as we can grow in the first 7 years, and then gather all that and store them, and when there is no food, we will take that and we'll start using it. But what does the Pharaoh say? This is what the continuation. Can you read 38th verse?
And Pharaoh said to his servants, Can we find a man like this in whom is the Spirit of the Lord? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, Since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you.
What did he say there? Again, he's in second in command. The third occasion. Okay. Now, now you continue reading the rest of the part there until 45th verse.
41.
Continue reading.
Okay.
41.
And Pharaoh said to Joseph, See, I have set you all over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand and put it in Joseph's hand, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him ride in his second chariot, and they called out before him, Bow the knee. Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah, and he gave him in marriage Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. So Joseph went over the land of Egypt.
Now, the most difficult part comes up. Now you understood why he was given the chance to be second in command, both of you? Do you have an answer now? Why?
I don't know.
You still don't know? Do you know, Moshe?
He
Why
read
was
something-
he given second in command
Oh,
in all these 3 occasions?
I was
What?
So he didn't put them on his head.
Huh?
So he didn't have to put them on his head. He put them-
What?
So he can give him stuff because he's in second in power. Second
In all these 3 occasions, 3 different, absolutely no connection between these 3 locations.
humbleness.
Oh wait, is it because since like
Now she's
Pharaoh
reading.
said,
Now she's reading.
since God had made all this known to you, there is no one as discerning and
No,
wise
no.
as you are.
No. Okay, so do you think it is only because God was given him the interpretation of the dreams?
Yeah.
No.
That is the 3rd occasion. The 3rd occasion he interpreted them, that's why the Pharaoh listened to him. Okay? Now I'm talking about what did he do in the 1st occasion? That the Potiphar, officer of the Egyptians, saw something in him and then made him second in command. The first part is the Lord was with him. First part. Second is what? Everything that Joseph was doing, God was blessing it. And what is the secret that I was trying to keep from you guys since yesterday?
I didn't know.
Obedience. Obedience. Ria, don't you think so? He was going to serve a master. Potiphar bought him from the Ishmaelites. So he came to a house and he's going to serve that master. And then he served him well. So then the master started to treat him nicely and observe what this man is doing and how he's being blessed. Right? Do you think this might have happened in a day?
No.
A week?
No.
A month?
Yeah.
A month?
A month.
Okay. And he was put in prison. And then again the same story. So the Potiphar was first master. He saw what was going on good, take him and put him in charge. And then he was given second in command, everything. Now the second occasion, now the same Potiphar got angry because of his wife and then put him in jail. And the reason why he came to the jail is because he was accused,
False
saying that he
allegation.
mistreated the master's wife, and that's why he came here. And what happened there? Again,
God blessed him.
do you think that might have happened in one day,
No.
1 week,
No.
1 month?
Yeah.
1 month? Okay. Now he is there, something happened there, and then he came to the presence of the Pharaoh, and then God did something to him, and again the same thing. God was with him, God was with him, God was with him. God blessed him in everything he's doing. God blessed everything he was doing. God blessed everything. This is all common. There's one third line, one third attribute. It is not written down here that we need to understand is he was obedient. He was obedient.
He was obedient.
He was obedient. That's the answer there. Now, when he came to the Pharaoh, and then he started being second in command, that happened in a day,
No.
a week,
No.
a month?
No.
Okay, if you say no, then tell me how long it took.
Yes.
30 years.
Do you know when he was sold in slavery?
When he was
14 years old.
one year.
And he got married at the age
How
of
old
30.
is? Hey, what do you mean by 14 years old?
He was
Moshe.
Tell me somebody who I can recognize. Who is
Moshe.
14 years old?
Moshe.
Who is 14 years old?
Don't
Oh
sell
no,
me.
Moshe, you're 14 years
Don't
old.
sell me.
Then I can sell you in slavery.
No. I'm
He
not
was
that-
he was sold for 12 shekels
What
of
is
I'm
silver.
worth more than that, come on.
You're worth one.
No. I have to give 12 shekels when I'm selling you in slavery because they have to take that money and feed you. So now,
Yeah,
how
that's
long?
okay, then you-
How long do you think Joseph spent his time in slavery serving some masters where he's 14 years of life? He's not a child. Moshe knows a lot about this family. In 14 years, he was always loved by Jacob. He was the firstborn of Rebekah, his most beloved wife. And then Joseph goes and stitches a colorful garment, outer garment for Joseph. So a lot of things will tell us that this boy is very well treated and pampered in the house. And from that pamperness, within no time, he was snatched out of it and thrown into slavery. And he succeeded because the Lord was with him and blessed everything what he was doing. But then now tell me, how long was Joseph was in slavery?
7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
How did he come up with that?
Bible.
Bible, tell me, how?
It says then the 7 years of the abundance in the land of Egypt came to an end.
Okay, that's wonderful.
It says the time.
Okay, I can count that 7 years. Anything more?
14 years.
14 years because the 7 years of abundance, 7 years of famine, 14 years. So he was 14 years old. But what was his age when he came to this position?
30.
30. So Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of the Pharaoh. So how long from 14 to 30?
16 years.
16. And how long more he served the Pharaoh? 14. Like according to the story here, so 16 plus 14, how many years?
30.
30.
How many years he was obedient?
30.
Years.
How many
His
years are you?
entire life.
How many years are you supposed to be obedient?
100.
I don't think the earth can bear you that long.
Well, I don't want to stay 100 years old.
So
Obedience.
obedience
As long as you're alive.
in not a short period, we have to understand Joseph was obedient for a very long time. For a very long time. 30 years of his life after sold in slavery, starting from your age, Moshe, when he was 14 years old, he's trying to hide his face behind the phone.
No, I can see you here, and I can
So-
see you there.
Please go to that.
It doesn't.
So from 14 years till about 44 years, until he was 44 years, he was in slavery. But every time he was in slavery, but only serving the master, but rest everything was under his command. You talk about Potiphar's house, or the jail, or the Pharaoh's house.
Kingdom.
So what do we need? What do we need? I don't want to say a life like Joseph. That's a very painful life, I would say, because he was being kicked out of his family, lost his father, and then he was sold in slavery. But God has a plan for Joseph, and he orchestrated that plan so well that even he made his own brothers to sell him. One of them wanted to kill him, you know. Benjamin steps in and says, "Don't strike the boy, but then we will just throw him in a pit. We will not take his life off, but then his blood will be upon us." So God used many people, and then God orchestrated this whole story. The reason is because God wants to make Jacob and his family like a nation, and that's what Joseph is going to step in, and God is going to use him mightily there.
Wait,
Any questions?
do we need, instead of a life like Joseph's and most faithful, do we need obedience like Joseph?
Yes.
Yes.
She's using it right
No. See, we just saw how long Joseph was obedient for 30 years. So how long do you going to remember that part? You just told one very magnificent prophecy just now that obedience is required, but how long will you remember that?
As long as I live.
Very good.
Okay. Any more questions? Any questions? Any questions? This is it today. Let us. Yes, Moshe.
So, you know how he does all this shit, and now his brothers come back, and they all go back, and they live happy ever after, right? Does he ever become Pharaoh?
Does he ever?
Become Pharaoh?
No.
He never becomes Pharaoh?
No.